What's happening, everyone? I'm Jazz, this is Endless Road, and we're working on the ceiling again today. So I wanted to try and get the side pieces finished off. So I've actually started at the moment without filming.
What were you thinking?
I've cut a piece of batten because the metalwork of the van roof is up higher than the actual ceiling, so I needed a batten to bring it down so that we actually have a mounting surface to put these side pieces into. The reason why I didn't film is because I didn't have a clue what size batten to do. So first of all, I cut this, I think it's called CLS timber or something. Cut a piece of this, it's 45 inches long, and screwed that up there, and it brought it down too far. So then I found this piece of batten, all in the name of recycling. There's loads of timber I got left over from smashing my office down. Screwed that into the two cross members going across there. Now I need to make the actual panel. So that 2x1 is worked out fine. It brought it down enough so that when I make it, it'll cover the screws at the end of the roof there. And when I mount my windowsill panel there, they'll be screwed along there, and then that panel should cover both the screws for the ceiling and the inner trim. Obviously I need to mount this properly first, so to help me with that, obviously you can see the van structure's got all holes in it. Well, you don't want to be screwing through that and find out you've lined it up with one of these, because it'll just, you know, you won't be screwing into anything. So put a piece of tape across the bed frame there, and I've marked out where all the holes are, so I know not to drill in those places. And again, there's some at the top there, you can see them all filled with the expanding foam, so I know not to drill in any of those places. I didn't listen to my own advice, and I've just drilled right where I marked out where there's a hole. Dumbass. Oh well. That's because I'm sitting on the bed, I can't see it. Okay. That's all on now. Now I just need to cut this panel. And I'm using for that just, I think it's 5.5 mil ply. It's the same stuff I used in those panels to blank off the insulation in there. I got another sheet there, but this is the leftovers from me caulking up one of them. So I'll put that to good use now. And that's big enough to make that panel up there. So let's get cutting. Okay, this should now fit wonderfully up here. So now, how do we mount that onto there? Gonna have to get some screws the right size for it to then go into that batten, and I need to mark out where the batten is in orientation to this. So if we mark on there, you know where it is there, and then if I put a bit of tape there, I know where. I was gonna totally wing that then and eyeball it over, so nah, I do it a bit better than that. So the marks that I've marked out by there and there, I've now transferred them onto this. So now I'll straight line that and I know exactly where the batten is in correspondence to this then, and then I can like get the drill holes centered and evenly spaced apart, however many I want to put in it. Right, I measured all that properly and I've pre-drilled the holes. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws to put in it. You watch when I test drive this van, everything will be going Managed to find another piece of batten. So let's see how it fits up. I haven't cut anything off it. Oh, she's smack on. Smack on, brev. Just go screw that in, same as I did the other one. Now, I see this a lot on the Trafic and Vivaro forums on Facebook. Everyone asking what to do with the wiring on this side of the van. Now, normally it's all covered up with multiple pieces of plastic. They've all gone in the bin on this van. I just tore them off. So that's step one. I'm going to get this in first, then I'll show you what I do with the loom. So I've got that batten up now, and to follow on from this, what I was saying about this loom, what I do now is to I'll either tuck it up there in between the batten and the ceiling, or the other side, one or the other. See how it can loop around. And then what I use is these things here. So they're just like a little plastic loop thing with 2 holes in it. I don't know the name for them, but I will find out and I will pop the link to get them in the description once I found out. And all you do is stick it round the loom like that, and then mark out where you want it, drill a hole and screw it up. So I'll crack on with that now, and then I'll show you once it's done. So this is how it's turned out. We'll start off over here. I'm pretty sure that my wiring along the back here is different, but I did it ages ago. So I'm pretty sure I rerouted the wiring loom through that cross member there, so it's out of the way. So anyway, this side loom goes through that hole there, and then it goes behind my batten, so the batten is actually holding it up on that end, and then it comes along here, and I've screwed it in there, excuse the mess of the expanding foam, and comes along here. I've got another one there, and then another one there, and then another one there. So you can use as many as you want. 1, 2, 3, 4 I think was enough for me. I might put a 5th one in, see how we go. It's just as long as it's not dangling down or fouling on anything. Just make sure it's all tucked up. Make sure whatever those things are called are the right size for the cables you're using. Little tip, where you're drilling, try to pick areas that is not going through 2 skins, where these roof cross members are. Try and pick it where it's just one single skin of metal, just to make your life easier. Obviously the van used to have a central light for when the doors opened, it came on. I've ripped that out, so you've still got these 3 wires here. I'm just going to snip them off to about that long, and then I'm going to insulation tape up the bare ends, and then tape like one way and one another way, and tape it around the remaining loom. Any auto electricians, let me know in the comments whether that's shit or not. If it is, then obviously I can take that panel down once I've made it and do it whatever the proper way is, because I haven't got a clue about electrics. So as far as I'm aware, as long as I cover up the bare ends and make sure they're not touching maybe, then it should be okay. Let me know if it's not. Now I needed 233 centimeters in length for this panel. Now obviously the 5.5mm sheets of plywood don't come that long, so I'm gonna have to do it in 2 separate panels, and I've just divided the 233 in half, so both panels are equal length. Bugger! I appear to have just cut right through my trestle. I thought it was more that way, but obviously not. I missed the other. Alright, it didn't miss. It's cut through all over. Oh well. Idiot. I'm gonna have to get my mate to weld my trestles up after doing that. So top tip for all the non-carpenters out there, all carpenters know this, and I have already been told it as well, I just forget. When cutting through something, and if you've got it on trestles of any kind, get yourself a scrap bit of either 18mm or 12mm, be it plywood, MDF, OSB, whatever. But whatever you're cutting, lay that on top of this scrap bit of 18mm preferably. One, it gives you a nice levelish work surface, and 2, stops the blade biting into whatever you're cutting and launching it anywhere, and 3, stops you cutting into your trestles. So as you can see, I got the 18mm out afterwards when I should have done it before. So there's my 2 boards for the passenger side. Now I can't fit them straight away because the sliding door rail is in the way, so at least one of them, possibly both, is going to have to be notched around it. So yeah, it's going to have to be cut down to about somewhere around there. So I'm going to measure that now and then cut it. Luckily enough, the first board didn't need to be cut because it doesn't come far enough to meet the rail there. So I can get this one in there, and then at least that gives me something to line up for the next board before I cut it. So let's get this in. Now I've already pre-drilled it, and like the last one, I marked out where the batten is, but I didn't measure where I put the batten, I just eyeballed it. So just to make sure the screws are in the same place as that one I did over there, I measured how far from the edge the screws are and then marked it on here. So when this goes up, the screws should be the right distance, the matching distance away from the edge, and obviously I divided the measurement in half to get the center one, divided it again to get the other two. So there's 5 screws holding this one on, same as that one up there. So it should look identical. So there will be no OCD going on. So now we need to notch it out for this badger by it. So if I mark out the edge of it there, and then I measure how much we're sticking proud the first board, which is 3.6, we can then mark out on there, then join them up, mark it out, and magically cut it. Let's see how it fits. Right, fits good there, it lines up nice. Lines up around that. Right, we're gonna have to do something this end now, because something's not letting it go up there, and there's nothing in the way of it. It's more likely that the rail is making tension on it, so I'll have to work that out and see what has to be cut off there now. Right, so hopefully you can see there now that, where are we? I've cut the corner off, so it's like that. So now it should fit up here, and it's touching the roof all the way along. And there we go, that's that panel done. So all nice and tucked behind the sliding door rail, notched out by there. There's no tension or anything on that because it's notched out to just sit flush with it there. And luckily enough, when I put the batten in behind that corner, it is screwed into one of the mounts I made for the ceiling panel. I did cock up where I put the end screw in because I forgot about the rail and I couldn't get my screwdriver in there, so I had to move it over just 2 centimeters. Last but not least, go do this panel, the only one remaining, and luckily enough I had enough batten left over from doing the first panel, so it's probably a bit too long. Yeah, go trim it down. Mark that out. Last batten in now, and I managed to screw it into the mount that I did for the ceiling panel there, and then got 2 screws in that cross member. So now we just gotta cut the final board. Fast forward on a bit, we got it made, and so that's gonna fit in there like that. But I don't know whether you can see something stopping it by there, and that would be this bracket. I don't know what it's for. I assume it's something to do with when these vans have a second row of seats and they have different trims in this area. Obviously I don't need it, so it's coming off.
Peter, your hands! Look at your hands!
Ooh, she's hot.
Oh shit, Sherlock.
Now it should go in. So now that we've done the sides, there's only 2 sections left to do on the ceiling, and that is there and up here. Now I don't know how I'm going to do this part yet, up there. We'll leave that to another time. So for now I'm just going to focus on this area. So I need a bit that just goes along there, that just sits on that. I need to make 2 more little pieces of the ceiling panel to go in there, and there, and then I need some way of blocking off this gap and these holes that are in this panel. I'm thinking of cutting like a triangular cross section by inch, so it'll come down this an inch and across there an inch. I asked my carpenter mate James, and he said to have a go at cutting it out a piece of 3x2, I think it is. So I'm going to try using it with my track saw on a 45. I got another beam there next to it to lay the track on, because otherwise it'll fall off. So we'll mark it out now, about inch by inch, and see how that goes. Hopefully it cuts.
Hold on to your butts.
Right, so I don't need any more than this now, so just cut that off and see if what I've cut there is suitable. So I've cut them down to the sizes I want, and I've actually started. I shaved this corner off of that one, so it's curved, because this part of the metal is curved. So they work. It isn't quite a 90-degree angle. It's a bit more than 90 degrees. This is on an angle, so I can shave the back down a little bit, take a little bit off it, so that then this edge meets the ceiling. I've also put that piece in now. I ended up doing it as one piece, connecting them both, and I had to chamfer the back off like I did the worktop and the shelf, so that it curved around this area. I'm not going to bother putting a plate along there to cover this hole. What I think I'll do is just put a piece of vinyl sticker across it or something, and then I'm going to retrim all this this panel, and so the vinyl will provide some sturdiness to it, and then carpet over it, and then it's just these 4 pieces of wood trim to go on now. Now the way I'm gonna attach them, I don't really want to screw them, because screwing in at an angle is gonna leave a weird hole in it, and I don't know whether I'm gonna trim them or paint them yet. So I think the best way to do it is to bond them on. So these pieces will be bonded onto the ceiling, so they'll be part of the ceiling panel, and then the side ones that go by here will be bonded to them, so they'll be part of the side panels. Just had to shave them sides at an angle so them work together, and then this end I had to shave that at a different angle so it sit flush up against that, because before I did it, it was kicking it down like that. So yeah, all funky angles. So let's get that bonded on now. I'm trying my best not to have it right up against the metal, because obviously it's going to have some fabric on there. If I sit it right up against the fabric, then when I come to fit them all back up again, then it's going to rub on it and I'll have to do some more sanding, so I don't want to do that. So I'm leaving a couple of mil gap behind them and then taping them so they don't move. Guess what? We ain't got no gloves on. Put some tape on that. Just to hold it in place. And that is the finished article. I do have to clean up a little bit of spillage of sealer there, and still have to sand some of the edges down because they're a bit sharp, but that's basically it. And obviously they'll get painted or retrimmed or whatever, I'm not quite sure yet. So that is the roof structure finished. So we got rid of all the wiring loom on that side, and then we covered up the gap along here, and obviously the wiring's gone from there as well, but you didn't see me get rid of that. And then the screw holes, or the screw heads from the ceiling and the pod trims are now not visible because they're covered up. And that is it, and obviously the bit around there as well. So that pretty much wraps it up for this video. I can't do no more until I get to the retrimming and painting stage. So I hope you like how my ceiling panels turned out there. I'm happy with them. Links for most of the tools I used and the clips I used on the loom, which I still can't remember the name of, will be in the description. Link for the Instagram is in the description as well as the link for the Buy Me a Coffee. So if I've helped you out in any way, then click on the link to say thank you. All the info for the pods and the inner trims are in there as well as in previous videos too. So thank you very much for watching. Click on the like button, click on the subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Right, I've left my questions and comments mount up for a little bit. Guilty as charged, eh? I always try and answer any applicable ones on the by texting back to them, but I like to address them on here as well, just in case people don't read the comments and it could be something helpful. Someone said regarding the lift kit, if you didn't lengthen the shocks, all you have done is stiffen the springs and the rebound will be hard. Now, obviously I didn't make the lift kit, someone else has manufactured this, so anything to do with the design is down to them. I know I've bought them and fitted them, but I'm not holding a gun to anyone's head and telling them, yeah, you should fit this. I've just said, well, I've just shown how to fit them if you go out and buy them. So all I can think of when this person has said this comment is they're regarding the rear, because the comment doesn't apply to the front because the spacers go on top of the shocks on the front. So yeah, the spacers on the back will alter the shock length. So yeah, probably the rebound will be different. But someone else has commented about the lift kit and said easiest way to F your axles and joints up. Well, I said I doubt it's the easiest, because there's probably other ways you can do it, but I said if it does start to wear things out, then it's easily removable, and if they start to wear. And then they said axles will not work in the optimal position alignment, hence it will wear out, and then I don't really know what they're saying. I mean, it's certainly possible, but I would have thought the company that developed it might have done a little bit of research and development into it. And plus it's only, I can't remember actually what it is now, what were they, like 1.33" spacers. Now there's an abundance of lift kits for Defenders out there, so I assume it would be based on a similar type of thing, and you don't see them going out of fashion. I mean, I've just had a look underneath just to get familiar with it again, and I agree more with the first comment about the length of the shock on the back, because you've got the axle joint there, then the spring, then the shock, and the shock is the furthest thing back, so that's got the most added difference onto it by adding a spacer under the spring. The difference in measurement on the axle joint there is going to be minuscule, because it's right at the front, and everything further away from it is spaced out. So I can't see that wearing that joint out any more than normal. As for the front, well, the spacer goes on top of the shock, so yeah, it lifts the body up, which then pushes the suspension down. But I've had a look compared to a standard van, and the angle change in the lower arms is hardly anything. And I mean, if there was excessive angle on the lower arms, then yeah, I would have taken them off. But there's nothing screaming alarm bells. I am gonna do a drive test once it's all finished and done and running and everything, and then I can do a review, and if they're a load of shite, then I will happily say that, and I'll probably take them off. Someone asked if I'm going to be doing short wheelbase pods. Now I did do a post on one of the Facebook Vivaro and Trafic groups that I'm on, asking if there is any interest in doing short wheelbase pods, and if there was enough interest then I would consider making the molds and doing them. So I put it out there and said if there's enough interest I would make them. I think about at least 10 people said, yeah, I'm interested. But then when it came to asking them for some funds, which I was like asking for like 50%, because it's not cheap to get all the materials to make the molds and stuff. Not even talking about the time involved. But then when that happened, everyone went quiet. So they didn't get made, but never say never. It was, you know, like I said, if there's enough interest, I will make them. Someone asked, can you get a rattle can of Raptor in white? I do believe U-Pol Raptor can be now purchased in an aerosol can. Don't know what colours they do. So I would presume it's black for definite. I would take a guess they would do white, and that would just be the two colours, I think. But just Google it and it should come up. Now a big one, when I did the drawers and I did the joint connector bolts and I drilled out the holes in the sliders to accept the joint connector nut to go through, then I had a few comments saying I'd done it the wrong way round and I should have just put the bolt through that and drilled the hole in the wood big enough for the nut to go through. Because the way I done it was just more work and no gain. Totally hold my hands up and agree with everyone with that. If I was going to do it again, then yeah, I'd probably do it the way they were saying. But if you remember in the video, I didn't have the right bolts, so that came into effect. And I'm not a carpenter, so my drilling in the wood I wouldn't say is spectacularly accurate. To drill through a thin piece of metal to get the nut through was more accurate for me than to drill through 12 mil of ply straight, if you get what I mean. I'm just making excuses really, but that's why. Someone said about the rear door alignment video, it sounds like a right palaver. Yeah, it is. It's an absolute nightmare, but it was just a video on how to do it if you got enough patience and time to do it, because they all do it, and if you got a few tools, then you can do it yourself without having to pay mechanic garage rates. This person said I just bung 3 washers on the bottom lower hinge for now. Yeah, you can do that, but I wouldn't recommend stacking up loads of washers, because then you put more strain on the bolts and then eventually something might give. So just be careful. And last question, I don't think I answered it on a video, is someone said, or someone pointed out that if I'm in bed and obviously the kitchen drawer is stowed away, the back doors are shut and stuff, and you're in bed and you want a tinny out of the fridge, then how are you meant to get to it without opening the back doors? And well, one, you don't want to do that, and especially if it's raining you don't want to do that. So I have already thought about that, and I did hint at that when I built this drawer by saying there's no end on the other side of it. So I'm just going to leave it there for now and saying I've got it covered, and you will see in a later video how I overcome that so that you can be in bed and you can reach the fridge without having to go outside. So stay tuned for that, and like always, if you've got any questions then pop them in the comments and I will answer them hopefully in the next video, I think the last few videos I think I've run out of space in my memory card while I was filming, and my other memory cards are at home, so that's why I didn't end up doing them. I'll try not to do it next time. So thank you very much for watching. Catch you next time.